If you are even remotely familiar with Gege Akutami's Jujutsu Kaisen, you will likely be familiar with one of the series' most iconic techniques in the form of the 10 Shadows, and by extension, the 8-handled sword divergent Sela Divine General Mahoraga. Mahoraga is one of the most elusive figures in JJK. It doesn't get a whole lot of outings, so when it does show up, you know shit is about to go down. And who could blame you for thinking so? Basically everybody talks about Mahoraga in the same vein as King Von, and its gimmick, adaptation to any and all phenomena, not just curse techniques, is one of the strongest abilities in the whole series. Hell, in the preamble before we get to see it for the first time, Gojo plainly states that it could kill a limitless Six Eyes user such as himself, which is just nuts when you remember that up to that point in the series, the only person who had even come close to that was Toji, who had to bush camp an exhausted teenager. So, how many fights has Mahoraga won? How many have wept and knelt before the Divine General itself? Well, basically nobody, at least not anybody important. Of the fights that Mahoraga has partaken in, it has one singular on-screen victory to itself. So with a practically non-existent win record and amidst all of the slander that goes on in the JJK community, how in the hell has Mahoraga retained its reputation? Well, today we're gonna go over just that and discuss exactly how Mahoraga adapted to the agenda. So this isn't the first one that I'm going to be counting because it's like more of a legend or a tale. It's something that still happened in JJK lore, but we didn't get to see it, so who gives a fuck. But Mahoraga's chronological first win under his belt happens before the actual main story of JJK, in the previously mentioned history of the clans that Gojo discusses. You see, sometime between 400 and 158 years ago, the heads of the Gojo and Zenin clan, both with the Six Eyes Limitless technique and the 10 Shadows respectively, got into a sporting bout in front of the rest of their clans. That is until the Zenin clan leader crashes out and goes full scorched earth for seemingly no reason. He pulls out the Divine General himself and all is history. Both of the clan leaders die and it's more of like a tie than a victory, so I don't even feel bad about not counting it, but whatever. The next time it shows up lore-wise would be in the aftermath of Jogo versus Sukuna, where Sukuna pulls up to save Megami after he pulls out the fucking neutron star against the literal coughing ant. If we're following the manga's version of events, Sukuna figures out Mahoraga's gimmick in a chapter and a half and almost immediately blows it up after being flung through some buildings. In the anime though, Mahoraga puts up a rather good fight, with Sukuna just fucking around to see what it can do. And hell, it even gets to a point where Mahoraga adapts to Sukuna's fighting style and learns to feint in the extended version of the fight. It's pretty cool. Nonetheless though, whichever version of events we're following, Mahoraga gets obliterated with a pocket nuke that turns Shibuya into a crater. Though surprisingly, Megami doesn't pull it out again himself. Instead, the next appearance of his comes from Sukuna himself after he steals Megami's body. Before we get into his next actual appearance, by the way, I just want to clarify here that this also means that Sukuna tamed Mahoraga for himself off-screen, as his initial fight with Mahoraga was just to nullify Megami's death, not to actually tame the thing. It invalidated it. I know there's a lot of confusion about it, but this fight was not taming Mahoraga. Mahoraga happened separately. So yeah, that's another loss. I'm really curious as to how that went down though, because I don't remember exactly where. I'll try to look for it. I believe it's stated that Sukuna is not able to use the 10 Shadows and Shrine in tandem. Like, he can't use them both at the same time. It's one or the other. So I'm like legit not sure what the fuck the 10 Shadows has in its bag that allows you to tame Mahoraga, but whatever. So anyways, on to his actual next outing. Sukuna spent ages glazing Mahoraga because he intended to use it in his fight against Satoru Gojo, but first he had to deal with his clingy ex Yorozu, and spoilers by the way. This is the one victory of Mahoraga's that I'm actually going to count. It's still kind of weird to count it as a victory because honestly, Yorozu is barely an opponent, and it's more like Mahoraga deals the finishing blow than him actually throwing hands with Yorozu herself. Sukuna wields Mahoraga's wheel above his head, bearing the burden of adaptation for it, so that when Yorozu uses her ultimate move, he just pulls out the goat and ends the fight right there. Mahoraga's last appearance in the mainline JJK continuity is during the famous battle between Gojo and Sukuna, where Sukuna wields it as an ally for the last third of the fight. This, in my opinion, is the most impressive of Mahoraga's outings, as it learns to adapt to Gojo's entire moveset and furthermore, bypasses the mostly impenetrable Infinity not once, but twice. You see, Sukuna seeks to use Mahoraga as a blueprint to bypass Gojo's Infinity, so he sent it out against him with the intent of observing and copying it, but Mahoraga bypassed it by altering the very essence of his curse energy. But since Sukuna can't do this, he waited, cried like a little bitch, sorry, for it to adapt in a way that he could imitate. And thus, we ended up with a slash that bisects the world and anything caught within its targeting space. It's a truly divine feat, and it says a lot that Mahoraga lasted so long against an opponent who already knew what he was up against, even if it was in a scenario where Gojo couldn't just one-tap it and move on with his day, because, you know, 3v1. But even though it accomplishes what Sukuna wanted it to do, offering him exactly what he needed to off-screen Gojo, a tamed Mahoraga is destroyed and rendered useless for the rest of the series by none other than Satoru Gojo. And I will be counting this as a loss, cause duh. So of the 3 fights that it ends up in on screen, the only fight that Mahoraga wins is a fight that Sukuna was already gonna win anyways. He pretty much just used Mahoraga there to style on Megami. Now, you might be saying, what's the relevance of that? Well, you see, this caught my attention mainly because of all of the Yuta slander lately, weirdly enough. It's funny as hell, I very much enjoy the Yuta strays, but Yuta is a character with a positive win-loss ratio. I know some people get up in arms over the debate of whether or not he could accomplish such without Rika, but guys, let's be fucking for real. That's his technique. It's like saying that Gojo couldn't beat Jogo without Infinity. It's an integral part of his moveset. Rika is just the Shikigami that holds his copied techniques and cursed weapons for him, and it can fight alongside him. It's not ridiculous. Now, if you want to flame him for making out with the cursed incarnation of his 10-year-old dead girlfriend, by all means, fucking go for it, be my guest. Or hell, let's look at Sukuna for Christ's sake. Sukuna is a man who you can hate him all you want, you can have whatever opinion on him that you want. This is a dude who killed and defeated multiple people over the course of 45 chapters of back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back jumpings. They literally pulled out every single stop that they had on him, and he was still basically winning until the last like 3 chapters, dude. And there will still be plenty of people calling him a bum or a fraud. Hell, I'm one of them. I don't fucking like the dude. The most decorated character in JJK history receives more strays than Mahoraga. But what is it about Mahoraga that makes him get off far easier than some of the more decorated combatants in the series? Well, it's an effect that I like to dub the Jogo effect. You see, Jogo was a character that, like Mahoraga, wasn't really involved in a whole lot of fights. He has 3 outings and literally loses all of them. Now, if you really want to give him a win, it would be when he waits for Toji to leave so he can slime out Naobito and Maki, but even then Maki ends up walking it off, so who cares? I forgot Nanami, sorry, fuck, but even Nanami had to go get third-partied by freaking Mahito. But the 2 fights he participated in where he wasn't fleeing the scene were against Gojo and Sukuna respectively, the 2 strongest beings in the verse. No, I'm not getting into the bag of worms that is Modulo, by the way. I'm aware of what's going on, I know that some stuff might contribute to my point. I don't feel like even getting into that right now, Jesus Christ. Anyways, back to Jogo. Though he doesn't land even 1 blow against either opponent, it's the willingness to run the ones in the face of almost certain defeat that sets these fights apart. Though Jogo did believe he had a chance in these fights initially, he still gave it his all when he realized he was gonna lose, seemingly just for the hell of it. Or hell, look at Kashimo, a character who failed to win even 1 bout on screen. But his enthusiasm and willingness to fight the strongest set him apart from some of the characters with more wins than him. Even if Kashimo may not be the best example because of the whole fucking, you know, rice farmer thing, but whatever. And in case it wasn't obvious, this goes triple for Mahoraga, a being whose entire purpose and ability seems to be for the sake of putting up as long of a fight as possible against any opponent. While the manga doesn't really have this aspect of him, the anime really puts a lot of work into characterizing Mahoraga as this battle-hungry beast that revels in the thrill of the fight. Now, not only does the quality of his opponents contribute to this as well, but also just the general flashiness that comes with his outings does too. Keeping up with Sukuna, who pretty much one-shot everything else up to that point, really was pretty crazy for the time. And effortlessly cutting through Infinity twice is something that not even Sukuna himself could accomplish on his own. Even with a negative win-loss ratio, Mahoraga proves that sometimes aura and hype is actually just more important than victory statistics. It says a lot that he's held in such high regard in an anime of all things. You know how often people ignore what's cool for stupid statistics that you can find on the goddamn power scaling wiki? So I suppose if there's really one thing to take away from this video, it's that sometimes the rule of cool is enough to beat the fraud allegations. So yeah guys, thank you for watching. I am so sorry that it's been like 2 fucking months since I've last uploaded. That really wasn't my intent, but I like legit started work on 3 separate videos and I just did not like any of them. That's a part of the process that you guys don't get to see a whole lot. Sometimes shit just doesn't work out. It was just unfortunate that shit didn't work out 3 times in a row. So I know this is like the fucking fifth time I've said it on this channel by this point, but I will be back sooner than I was last time. I usually am right about that. Like, my next upload does come out pretty soon after whatever one I say that in. I kind of want to do a video deconstructing the lore and like the world of Deadlock, because that game has taken over my life right now. I have like 400 hours in it. It's ridiculous. It's so good. But we'll see if I follow through on that. I don't know. Maybe it'll be something else. Anyways, enough yapping. Thank you all very much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to stick around for more, I would join our Discord server in the link in the description. I don't really talk in there a whole lot, but it's pretty much the most current and up-to-date place to get updates about my videos whenever I do actually give them. So anyways, yeah, sorry, enough yapping. Thank you all for watching and stay safe. Bye-bye.